welcome back to my channel. I'm Surabi, and today we are reacting to nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're not reacting to anything today because this is going to be an entirely different video than what everybody on my channel is used to. There was somebody who had commented on one of my videos that they saw all of this manga that I have and was curious to see like a manga library tour. So that's what I'm going to do today. If you're not into manga, that's totally fine. This is gonna mainly be a reaction channel. This is just like a one-off video, maybe. If y'all like stuff like this, let me know. Maybe I'll just start another channel and do manga stuff over there. But yeah, like manga and anime has been like a passion of mine since I was like 4 probably. I was like 4 running home from school to like catch Yu-Gi-Oh and like all these other shows on 4Kids way back in the day. I don't think 4Kids still exists, but yeah, like anime and manga has always been my thing. It will always continue to be my thing. It is something that I really love. It's something that I do on TikTok. So if you want some more manga and anime content, I do more of that on TikTok. You can definitely check me out. I haven't really been active on TikTok, but I have a lot of content on there. So you're free to go check stuff like that out. And if you happen to see something that you like up there and you want me to do like more of that here, let me know. I don't know. This is really just like a one-off video for right now. So if it happens to get really good traction, maybe I'll think about doing more. I can do reviews. I can do all of that. If you see anything in my library that you like, want me to talk about more, let me know. But yeah, the rest of the video, you're not going to be seeing my face. Sad face. But you're going to be hearing me talk about all of the manga that I have in my content, in my library. Also, disclaimer. There was a time when my library was very, 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 very organized. It is not now because I was doing a lot of content that never ended up on TikTok. I was doing a lot of content at one point and I was like pulling stuff from everywhere. I was reading half series because if you don't know, manga is very expensive. So I wasn't really collecting in order. If that makes sense. I was just collecting what was available to me because I had started collecting in the pandemic. And if you don't know, things were very, very hard to come by during the pandemic. So I have a lot of series that are half finished that are sort of like everywhere. It's because like I started reading. It's a long story, you know. Long story short, my library is not organized to any extent. So you will see series in different places. So forgive me. But welcome to my manga library. Let's go. These are times where I wish I had a gimbal. If you see my hand shake like that, ignore it. I am currently standing on my bed because I'm very short, and this built-in shelf that I have in my room is very, very high. But anyways, right here we have Fire Punch, which is Tatsuki Fujimoto's first work. If you know, you know. This is a very dark series, so if you're not into that, don't even try this because it's not for the faint of heart. I'm just gonna say that right now. Persephone and Hades. This was back when I had a Persephone and Hades obsession. I still do, but you know, I had to get this. Grand Blue Fantasy. Haven't read it. I own it. One day, maybe. And then up here, well, over here, I have 1 through, oh, there's 1 through, this is what I said when my shit was not organized. So 1 through 11 of Chainsaw Man. Again, another Tatsuki Fujimoto work. I don't think I am going to be collecting this series anymore. I'm going to be honest. This is a series I think that I'm okay reading on the Shonen Jump app. It's good, but it wasn't as good as everybody had hyped it up to be to me. It's for somebody, it's just not that much for me. The only reason why I'm keeping this is because I highly annotated them. Not even just this, I highly annotate a lot of my books, so I just keep them. But usually I don't keep series I'm no longer going to collect. This just happens to be one of those series that I'm going to be keeping. But anyways, I digress. Fire in His Fingertips. 1, 2, or 2, 1, 3. I have 4 somewhere else. You'll probably see it. For my spicy girls and my boys. If you like spicy content, this is for you. It's my favorite. Right here is The Gray Man. I watched this anime when I was younger. It is one of my favorite shonen animes, but the manga is currently on indefinite hiatus because of the mangaka. And so right now I have 1 through 28, I believe. I just have a lone number 10 sitting here. 28 is somewhere. I don't know where, but it's somewhere. You're gonna see it at one point. But anyways, this is such a good one. I was planning on reading it this summer, and hopefully I will get around to it, but who knows? Who knows? Not me. Can't stop cursing you. This is such a good series, and when I tell you I am so pissed that it stops at 4 volumes, there are only 4 volumes, it pisses me off. Because this was such an interesting concept. If you liked, what is it? If you like Death Note, this is probably a series that you would like. The only thing, again, is that it's 4 volumes, so it might piss you off that there's no legitimate ending to this story. But anyways, it is still a good read. I was hyped for it. I was so excited for this series when it was coming out. And then they canceled it at 4, and I was so pissed. So mad. I can't even begin to tell you. But that is the first sort of section. And then there's a back section. Again, my collection really doesn't make any sense, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Alrighty, this back row is looking kind of sparse. Don't judge me. The way that I was buying manga during the pandemic was very, very chaotic. So a lot of things are not finished. I just got a big girl paycheck now, so maybe that's gonna change. We'll see in the near future. But this is 1 through 22 of Fairy Tail. I have like what is considered the second box set down below, so you'll see that. Right here I have 1 and 2 of No Regrets, which is the Levi story in Attack on Titans. Over here, such a random assortment of manga. I have 1 of Bungo Stray Dogs. I was really committed to getting all of this series, and then I realized there was too many of them, and I don't know if I liked it enough to continue collecting. But so I stopped at 1. I really like the anime, so I think I'm just gonna stick to the anime on that. Dead Mount Death Play. This was an interesting one that I was confused on whether or not I wanted to continue. So that's why you see 1, 2, and then a random 5. Again, don't judge me. I was buying sporadically, and I was having a lot of FOMO. So that's what happened. This is 8 through 19 of Fairy Tail. And then 1 through, I think, 15 is hiding back there of Fire Force. I really liked Fire Force, the anime. And so at that time, there was really no indication that they were going to do another season of Fire Force. So I was like, you know what, I'll just read it. And I started to read it, and then I had only, at that point, I had like only 8 volumes. So 8 is where I got to in my reading. And then I had bought more and then just never went back. Again, very, very chaotic way that I do things. But yeah, that's what happened with Fire Force. I really highly recommend the anime though. Manga is really good too, but I highly recommend the anime. If you can overlook a little bit of fangirl service, it's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. Alrighty, moving on to the second shelf. As you can see, again, a very sporadic assortment of books. I apologize. But anyways, right here we have Peacemaker. This is, so the ones with the white spines right here and this one, this is the first part of the series. This is the second part of the series. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't read the second part of the series yet, so I don't know if I like this series entirely yet. It's very interesting. If you like historical, if you like samurai, if you like historical Japan, very interesting. It's about a young boy who wants to become part of the Shinsengumi. And I don't actually know what happens because this was such a wild ride of a story at the beginning that I don't actually know what happened. So I have to go back and reread this one and then read this one all together so that it makes sense. I have, I have, I think up until volume 30 of Attack on Titans, but you only see 4 and 5 and 7 here. The rest is somewhere. Where, I don't know, but we will find them on this journey through my manga collection. I have Hell's Paradise 1 through 13. Here is the other one. I fucking love these spines, are so beautiful. I loved this series. If you like historical, if you like a little bit of samurai, if you like a little bit of fantasy, you will love this series. I don't know why it got trashed on the way that it did. I read this series before I watched the anime. Still, the best decision I ever made was to get this series. One of my top favorite shonen now. That last volume of Chainsaw Man and Happiness. What can I say about Happiness? I bought this one volume before I knew what the premise was about. Then I found out it was about vampires, and then I said, not for me. So I haven't picked up this series. Now, I blame Vampire Nights and a whole bunch of other series for ruining vampires for me. So the day that I start liking vampires is the day that I pick up the series. But the day has yet to come, and maybe it'll never come. But until then, it's sitting right there, untouched. Right here, if you don't know, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the original precursor to the Duel Monster series. This Yu-Gi, unhinged. If you don't know, this is a lot darker than what 4Kids believed us, or led us to believe what Yu-Gi-Oh! Was. So good. And in this series, they don't just play card games, they play a whole bunch of other games. And this, if you ever, how am I going to explain this? If you ever read Duel Monsters, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, without reading this, it doesn't really make sense because the 4Kids TV show started at Duel Monsters. And there was like a season 0 that was released in Japan that never got released in America. So if you watch Duel Monsters or read Duel Monsters manga without reading this portion, it actually kind of doesn't make sense because this is technically the beginning of Duel Monsters. If that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know and I can maybe try to explain it better. Over here. This is, I can't even tell you what this is. This is an extremely rare manga that only has 3 volumes that no longer is printed by a company that is now defunct. I didn't know this when I picked it up because I just saw Sword and I'm a sucker for historical / samurai anything. So I got this thinking that it was just like an older manga that was still in print. No, there's 3 volumes. Now the other 2 volumes are non-existent. They're out of print, limited editions, no longer in existence. I can't even tell you what this story was about because I didn't fully grasp the story. But I read it. It seemed very interesting, but I don't know what they were going to do with the story because there was only 3 volumes. But far be it from me. I have it in my collection. Maybe it will go for a lot of money now. Who knows? Moving on to the back row of that shelf, you see the last few volumes of D. Gray Man. Volumes 6 and 34 of Attack on Titans. I think this was the Barnes & Noble edition. It wasn't really that special. That's why I had 34 before the rest of the series, but ignore me. Taboo Tattoo. This series was good, but then again, I realized after buying these first 2 volumes that this series was kind of hard to collect because a lot of it is out of print. And so some of the volumes are going for very, very exuberant prices. So I refuse. I'm going to wait. I'm going to bite my tongue until I see a good price for it. So it's just 1 and 2 for right now. Smokin' Parade. This is such a good series. This is an interesting post-apocalyptic seinen series. So if you don't like dark things, don't try this. But this is done by the same duo that did Dead Man Wonderland. So if you like Dead Man Wonderland, you might like this. But be cautious about both these series because it's very dark. That's the best way that I can describe these two series. They're pretty dark. This also has a very, very irregular release schedule. So this is a currently releasing series, but it is very, very irregular. It comes out like once every 6 months. And I think it's because whoever is the author of this one, I think has health issues, but it's still a really good series. So if you ever want to get into it, but just know that the release schedule is very, very, very sketchy. Codebreaker. This was my favorite anime, and I feel so slighted at the way that this didn't have an ending in the anime. It does have a manga ending in Japan, but in America, only 2 volumes were released. So these are the 2 volumes. This is purely for nostalgic value that I bought this. But yeah, I love this series. We were gypped on the way that the anime was ended, but it is such a good series nonetheless. I highly recommend anybody to watch it, but you will be pissed off at the fact that there is no ending. I didn't really like this series. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I just have this one lone volume because I was trying to get rid of it and I never got around to it. But one day I will get rid of it. It's just volume 1. Path of the Assassin. I really wanted to get into this series, but I don't. Trying to find the rest of this series is also kind of really hard. So this is on standby for right now, and maybe one day I'll get back to it. What is this? Oh. Kaiju number 8, the first volume. I didn't really, I'm gonna be honest, not even that I didn't like it. I didn't read it. So maybe one day I'll get into this. 1 through 3 of MPD Psycho. This is an amazing series. It's a psychological thriller, but you know what? This is also an extremely rare manga. To buy this series is an upwards of $1,000 now. I got this 3 for $40, not knowing that it was gonna be so hard to, you know what? I do this to myself when I collect older series because I don't do the research about it and I'm like, this looks interesting, so I buy the first few volumes, not realizing that the rest is going to be extremely hard to find. But here we are. So maybe one day I will be lucky enough to find like 4 through 9 for a decent price. But for right now, this is like one volume sometimes will go for like 60-70 bucks. I'm not doing that. I love this series, but I'm not shelling out $60-70 per volume for the last 6 volumes. Anyways, on to the next shelf. Rounding off the bottom shelf, again, another sporadic set of volumes. Starting off is Children of the Whales. If you don't know about this series, this is such a good series. Netflix has an anime for this, but I don't know if it's good or not. I just decided to read the manga because I've realized that the anime almost always will never live up to what the manga has to offer. So I just opt out for the manga most of the time. But highly recommend this series. I know it looks like a sporadic set of volumes that I have back here, but there's another set back there. I'll show you. I stopped at volume 7, and at the time I only had until volume 7, so I said, let me go do something else, and then I forgot. So I'm gonna have to come back to this series this summer. Hopefully I can finish it, but it's a still releasing series, so there is volume still coming out every few months or so. Girl on the Shore. Now, depending on who you ask in the manga community, this is a very either controversial manga or a very, very good manga. I like it personally because it reminds me a lot about myself and what I went through. So that's why I like it. But depending on who you ask, this is a no-no manga. So if you decide to read it, don't come at me for what's in there. Because it's a dark graphic manga. Just know that. Just be aware of that. It's very graphic. So don't come at me. Granulars, I think. This is the entire series, 1 through 3. This was a very interesting concept. I don't know why they didn't finish it. I think it just wasn't popular enough to continue, but it was very, very interesting concept. It was basically people genetically modified seeds in order to like make them, when they eat the seeds, to have plant powers, essentially. It's very interesting, and the main character of this book was like the son of a scientist, and the government is the only one in this world, in this verse, that essentially can legally genetically modify seeds. So regular citizens are not allowed to. But the government comes for the main character's father, and they believe that he is genetically modifying seeds, which in reality it was the main character here who was genetically modifying seeds. So he runs away. He joins this ragtag team of people who have all of these plant powers, essentially, and they're going to overthrow the government. If I remember correctly, that's the premise of the story. But it was an interesting premise. Just sad that it never got finished. Soul Eater. What can I say? I really, really, really like the fact that there is a hardcover version for Soul Eater. I just really wanted to appreciate the mangaka's artwork a lot more, so I opted for the singles. You can't tell me that these like single covers don't go hard. So I was just like, I'm gonna get Soul Eater and I'm gonna get the singles. Again, this was during the pandemic, so it's such a erratic, sporadic volume collection that I have. 1, 3, 2, and 24 of Attack on Titans. Parallel Paradise. If you know, you know. This is a spicy manga, so don't touch it if you don't like spice. An assortment of Attack on Titan volumes. Another assortment of Soul Eater volumes. And the rest of what I have of Fairy Tail. So I only have up until volume 43 of Fairy Tail. And then one lone random volume of Death Note. I own the whole series of the Black Edition. It's just, this is the one random volume. I think some are in the back here, and some are in another shelf. So we're gonna find them on our journey through my manga collection. Moving on to the back row. This is the rest of Children of the Whales, volumes 1 and 2 of Soul Eater, some volumes of D-Gray Man, and 1 through 6 of Laughing Under the Clouds. Y'all, I think I'm just really good at picking mangas that don't have a complete ending. This only has complete 6 volumes. The story doesn't finish, but it is so good. I highly recommend everybody read it. It is a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of samurai, a little bit of historic. If you can't tell, those are my genres, but I really, really love this one. There is an anime, and I don't know if the anime goes all the way. I think I only watched a few episodes of the anime. You can't beat the manga for me, but highly recommend. 1 through 12 of Sailor Moon, which is the complete original Sailor Moon. 1 through 3, if you can't tell, it's still in its packaging when I bought it from Barnes & Noble. Summertime rendering. Hopefully this summer I will get around to reading this. And volume 3 of Death Note. See, I told you, we'll find those volumes. Slowly but surely, we will find these volumes. But yeah, this is the last shelf in my wall. Moving on to another shelf. This is not really a shelf, but this is all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. I am currently reading it, that's why it's sitting on my desk and not an actual shelf. So it's technically on my TBR. Again, you have to read the original Yu-Gi-Oh! For Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters as a manga to make sense. But yeah, loving it so far. I'm currently in Battle City, so this is fun. Funsies. Fun times. Moving on to the next shelf. So this is my one shelf that houses my bigger editions of manga. You can see Berserk, the deluxe edition, still in its packaging because I have not read it yet. 1, 2, and 3 of Blade of the Immortal, the deluxe editions. I read the first one. I really loved it. I'm going to read the other 2. There is Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra, the Dark Horse editions, which is essentially the binding for the comic books. Haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but I I'm going to try so hard this summer. There is Attack on Titan, No Regrets, the Levi story, the full color edition. Levi is my favorite character, so there was no way that I wasn't going to get the colored edition. There is some fan books for both Legend of Korra and Avatar, The Last Airbender. And then that is Kiyoshi's light novel, essentially. So that's my one shelf. Gonna move on to like some other loosely kept manga somewhere else. So let's move on to that. Again, maybe one day, maybe just maybe, I will fully organize my shit. But not today. There is 1 and 2 of Ghost Diaries. Haven't read it yet. There's only 3 volumes of the series, so I'm in no rush. It had an interesting premise. It sounded like something I would enjoy, so I got the first 2, not knowing that it was only 3 volumes. Asadora, there's volume 2. There is 3 and 4. 1 is somewhere, we'll find it. But I really like Asadora. Such a good series. I don't know why people say that it is like the weaker of Naoki Urasawa's works, but far be it from me. I don't actually know what this is. I'm gonna be honest, I bought it because it was $5. It seemed like something I would like. I really am big into shonen, so I got it. It's from Shonen Jump, so it was a really hard decision for me to make. It was $5 and it was Shonen Jump. Some volumes of Attack on Titan, a random volume of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, Steel of the Celestial Shadow. This is a new one. Haven't read it yet. Maybe one day I will. Homunculus. I am waiting to collect this whole series because I didn't know that Seven Seas was going to reprint the series. This was an out of print series at one point, and the singles were going for like maybe $1,200 for the whole series. And when they announced that they were gonna do it, I was so excited. So I think this is one of those series that I'm just gonna wait, get all of it, and then binge it. Innocent. This was another out of print series that the Dark Horse decided to reprint. I don't know who the original publisher for this series was, but it seemed interesting. I really, 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 as you can tell, I love seinen stories. So this was like a no-brainer for me. Moving on. There is Give. I have some other volumes of Give. Somewhere. Ashaimon, which is the second series that the author for Hell's Paradise wrote. Haven't read it yet. It's still in its cage. So one day. Pluto, which is another work of Naoki Urasawa, but it's based off of Astro Boy. And then I don't know what that flipped over one is. I think it's another volume of Give, but as you can see, I'm not about to find out. Then there's Outbride, Beauty and the Beast. It took me a while to read that upside down. That is an interesting story. I think, I don't know where volume 1 is. I may have just bought volume 2 because I was interested. It's interesting. If you like a reverse harem and you like a little spice, that may be for you. Yeah, it was interesting. It's essentially like a, what do they call those? It's like an isekai, but it's good. I liked it, but I like spice, so that was a no-brainer for me. But yeah, that's sort of part of it. Then over here, again, I'm so sorry that it is so disorganized. A volume of Attack on Titan, a volume of Jujutsu Kaisen, 2 volumes of Mao, I think 9 and 11, and then Asadora Volume 1, Outbride Volume 1, another Attack on Titans, 1 and 2 of Death Note, and then Volume 1 of Inuyasha, 1 of Mason Ukoku, and then Hoshi Engi. Moving on to the big boy shelf. Alrighty, as you can see, this is the big boy shelf. Again, very disorganized. Yugi and Dark Magician are taking care of my my manga with the Heart of the Cards. But we're gonna start up here. We have volume 1 and 2 of Sekirei. If you can overlook a lot of ecchi, fangirly stuff, I really loved this series. I loved the 2 series anime that was out. It is so fun. But again, I did not realize that this series was gonna be hard to fucking collect. Because when I bought 1 and 2, the whole series was in stock. And it was just volume 5 that was like the rare one to find. But then all of a sudden the entire series went out of stock. And the entire series is also not translated into English, which is kind of upsetting. Then is Good Night Pun Pun. I don't know if I'll ever read that series because of how depressing everybody makes it seem. Maybe one day when I'm in my feels I'll do it, but not today. Volume 1 through 10 of Plunderer. Again, if you can overlook a lot of fangirly stuff, this is such a good story. It has an anime. I really like the anime too, but the manga goes farther than the story in the anime, and the manga has a darker tone to the overall story than the anime, so I highly recommend the manga more so than the anime. But yeah, highly recommend. Up here we have Phantom Tales of the Night. I have a 1 through 4 right here. I really liked it. I read all 4 of this. There's more volumes. It's a slow release schedule, but I highly like it. It's a very episodic story, so you don't really need to pay attention to the story because there's not, let me not even say that. There is an overarching plot, but it's not hard to understand the whole story, if that makes sense. It's such a good story though. I highly recommend it. 1 through 6 of Psycho-Pass. This is Shinya Kogami's story, so this is a side quest story, if I understand correctly. That's a side quest. Full Metal Alchemist, these are the light novels for Full Metal Alchemist. I think I'm missing 1, but yeah. And then there's Dark Magician and Yugi. You're gonna have to, oh, damn, Yugi fell. This is my signed poster of the voice actor for Keisuke Urahara from Bleach. If you don't know me, Bleach is like my #1 favorite series. It is my favorite out of the big 3. I'm gonna get so much slack for this. Naruto is my next one because Naruto holds a lot of nostalgic value for me, as you can see. And I am struggling to find a reason to like One Piece. But yeah, so that's the first top shelf. And that is the second shelf. I'm gonna show you what's behind. Alright, this is the back row of that first shelf. Over here I have the Full Metal editions of Full Metal Alchemist. Viz really put their whole Badusi in this. I apologize for that joke. They really did though. These are the prettiest covers I think Shonen Jump Viz has ever released. They are so pretty. They are just, they're hardcovers. The back and the front, they're so pretty. And then the foiling on them, this was chef kiss. I don't know who designed this, but whoever it is, they need to get a raise because they're absolutely gorgeous. I really wish that Viz would like do this for a lot of their older series, like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, like give them the same treatment. Highly doubt it'll ever happen, but if it does, I would shell out so much money for them. Over here, if you can't already tell, I am a huge Bleach fan. I'm a huge Tite Kubo fan too. So this is like my shrine. Plus here, we'll get into that, but over here, I have 1 through 4, which is a complete series of Zombie Powder, which is Kubo's first serialization or serialized work. It got canceled. This was like released in the 90s. I wish they didn't cancel it. I know a lot of their stuff has to do with popularity. I really wish that he got the chance to really fully develop the story, maybe one day in the near future. I don't know. I know he's working on the anime. I know he's working on, maybe, fingers crossed, the new Hell arc, but whatever he'll give me, I'll take. But this is a really cool series if you just want to try it out. It's very short. It's very interesting. If you're a Kubo fan, I highly recommend it. In this last volume, volume 4, there is a bunch of short stories that he submitted to Shonen Jump, I believe, when he was like, before he became like an actual mangaka. They never got serialized, but it's still pretty cool to see him like write his stories. Love, love, love. Volume 1 is missing from here because I had read it a few years ago. I'm going to reread it and annotate it this time around. So it's missing from here, but this is the Can't Fear Your Own World light novel. It's the only one of the Bleach light novels that got translated into English. Maybe one day the others will get translated. Fingers crossed, but I don't think I can hold my breath on that. But anyways, there's that. This is a collection of like short stories, like funny short stories in the Bleach world. If you are a Bleach fan like me, I highly recommend getting this. It's colored pages, it's really funny, it's cutesy. I really liked it. I like that there is like this fun aspect of the Bleach like story. Again, if you're a Bleach fan, highly recommend this. This is the Bleach Brave Souls art book, the official book. If you don't know, there is a Bleach mobile game / like game on Steam that Tite Kubo is like the official designer, I believe, or he's either the official designer or he designs a bunch of the like the characters. Well, obviously it's his characters, but he designs a lot of them, like the new like upgrades and stuff like that, and or he like officially signs off on the like new designs. Like this is Kyan. Oh my god, I forgot his name. This is Ichigo's uncle. And that is one of the upgrades in the video game. As you can see, I heavily annotated it with my favorite artworks, or the ones that I really, really liked. And yeah, again, if you are Desnoitora, that is one of the other skins, I guess. I don't really know how to describe what it is. Other versions of him in the game. But again, if you are a Bleach fan, highly recommend you get one of these. They are pretty expensive and they come from Japan, so yeah. If you're a fan. If not, then it doesn't really matter to you. This is another art book. I believe this is the first one that got released because this has all of the older versions of his art style. It might have some newer ones, I'm not sure, but these are the older versions. Again, really, really fucking loved it. Ooh. Let's get you to slide back in. Alright, now my Bleach shelf. I sometimes rotate the cover that I have like showing out like this. It's usually my favorite covers, but this is all 74 volumes of Bleach. And again, like the fan that I am, I have 3 volume ones. So I have the, ooh, that is the wrong way. This is the collector's edition of volume 1. It's a hardcover. It's really hard to come by now, at least. Let's not topple anything over. This is, I don't know why I keep doing that. This is, wow. Excuse me and my clumsiness. This is volume 1, the 20th anniversary edition. I really, really like that they did a 20th anniversary because this is a hard ass cover. It's so pretty. And then I have the actual volume 1, which is back there. I'm not going to be taking out each one, but you know what I mean. It's back there somewhere. Then this is volume 1 of Burn the Witch, which is the other side of the Bleachverse. This part takes place in London. I really wish, really, really, really wish he would continue the series. But I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to hold my breath, but when the day comes, there will be riots in the streets. But that's Burn the Witch. Then I have 2 of the data books. I keep flipping them around. Only 2 of them got translated into English, so I was really at war with myself on whether or not I wanted to collect the other data books or the other like fan books, because they're in Japanese. I'm not gonna understand them, but like I feel like as a fan I have to. But these are the first 2. Really, my favorite. Then I have an amalgamation of Naruto things. Naruto is my nostalgic series. I have a lot of contention with this story, but it will forever ever have a place in my heart. I have all 74 volumes. I know they're out of order, and it's because I was reading it. That's why. And then I have a bunch of the light novel stories for each of the characters. I have Itachi's light novels. Itachi's my favorite character. You can't tell me nothing. I have Sasuke's side story. I have Sasuke's Retsuden novel. I have Sakura's. I have the official data book from a while ago. And then I have Kakashi's like light novel story. Oh, there is my Bleach 1, Volume 1. It's right there. But yeah, that's my Naruto shelf. Then down here, I have an amalgamation of a bunch of different series. So I apologize. Again, my collection is so whacked. But over here, I have Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, if you didn't start collecting a series mid-pandemic like I did, you will know that Yu Yu Hakusho, for a very, very long time, maybe 2 years, was completely out of stock. I was scared that they weren't going to do reprints, but thank God that they did. Again, I wish older series like this, Shonen Jump, would do like deluxe editions for, but I won't hold my breath. Anyways, I read Yu Yu Hakusho last year. I grew up in a time when Yu Yu Hakusho was on TV, but I never really watched it as a kid. But then last year I decided to read it, and I tell you, it quickly became one of my favorite series. I don't like how it ended. A lot of people have a contention with the way that it ended, but it is such a good story nonetheless, and this series influenced my favorite series in the world. So there was no way that I couldn't really love this story. So there is 19 volumes of Yu Yu Hakusho. I know that's not all of it, but it's there. All 19 volumes. Now, I don't really know where to go in this. I'm going to start here, I guess. So I am collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very interesting series to collect because it's not all rare to find, ? It's not all hard to find, but there are certain volumes that are really, really hard to find. So I collected the original series, which is Season 0, Duel Monsters, which is the one we all know and love, and then we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Millennium World. Now, if you don't really know much about Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters manga ends in in Battle City. That's the official ending, not the official ending. It is the official ending of Duel Monsters. That's where it ends. Millennium World is the ending to the manga. You know how in I think it's season 5 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 5 of Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime adapts this portion of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Millennium World in the manga. But there's season 3 and 4 in Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime that doesn't adapt any part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. This is the official ending to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. This is a side story. I don't know. I think I had volume 6. Volume 6 is somewhere. But volume 5 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Art is very hard to find. So this part of the series isn't completed. This part of the series, volume 7, is the rare one to find. So volume 3 and volume 7 is the ones that are hard to find. So I haven't completed Millennium World yet. I did recently complete Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I know this is 5, 7, and 8, and 9. There's like 3 here. So I've completed. Oh, I have so many volume 3s. But anyways, I completed Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I am on the way to completing Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. As you can see, there's like a number 2 there, and there's some random volumes over there. I'm really conflicted on whether or not I want to continue past 5Ds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe in the near future. If I find good deals on a bundle for Yu-Gi-Oh! I will get it. But as of right now, I'm going to stop at Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. So, random. Jujutsu Kaisen is on this shelf, but it's behind everything, so I'll show you. This is volume 18 of Jujutsu Kaisen, Yashahime, which is the... It's not a spin-off series. It is the second part to the Inuyasha series. Yoromiko Takahashi did not write this series. It's written by somebody else. But for nostalgic value, because Inuyasha was technically one of my first introductions into anime, I bought this. I only have volume 1. It's purely based off nostalgic reasons. I do like the anime though. I don't think I will continue to collect this series as manga, but I will watch this series when it comes. I think there's a season 2 coming, but yeah. This is a Jujutsu Kaisen light novel. This is Mao, which I had some up there from from a while ago. I showed some volumes of Mao. Mao is here and behind, so I'll show you that. This is some random assortment of volumes. This is Rumiko Takahashi's new series. It's really good. If you are a fan of Inuyasha, you will also be a fan of this. It has a very, very much a same feel to Inuyasha, where a girl can time travel and she's like trying to figure out like a mystery. So that's really good. Highly recommend. Deadman Wonderland. This is the other part to the part that was on the shelf a while ago. Yeah. I don't know why I separated like this. Oh no, I do know why I separated them like this. Because again, like Yu Yu Hakusho, there was such a delay in buying Deadman Wonderland because a lot of it was out of stock. So I had these like odd numbers were so out of stock, so that's why they're over here on the shelf, and the other ones are like on my other shelf. But yeah, that's the rest of Deadman Wonderland. That's all of that. Some random ones. Okay. Oh, actually, I lied. I have volume 3 of Millennium World, so I'm only missing volume 7. Then I don't even know what I have. I have a little thingy for my collection. Like, I count all of them and I catalog all of them. Oh yeah, volume 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Volume 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Volume 5. Volume 19 of JJK. Oh my goodness, some of them are sticking together. Volume 6 of GX. 26 of D Gray Man. That's where that was. Ooh. Volume 9 of Smokin' Parade. Another light novel for JJK. This one is Demons of the Shadow Realm. This is a new series by Hiromu Arakawa, which is the author for Fullmetal Alchemist. I read the first chapter of this when it was first coming out. Mind blown at the first like twist in the series. So I am trying to collect them as they come out, and then I'll binge read them. And then volume 9 of 5Ds. Now you can see the stuff that's peeping in the back. Let's get there. Let's get there. Let's get there. You can see me take off all of this. Random volumes of Death Note. Oh my goodness. Come on. Come on. Come on. So many things here. Nanami peeking in the back. I'm not going to take all of this off because it's going to be such a pain to put it back. So we're going to do this. Alright, so there is the earlier volumes of Mao, JJK, 1 through like 16 in the back here. Volumes of Rurouni Kenshin, all 28 of them. Rurouni Kenshin is also one that's really, really hard to collect. Annoying as fuck, but also I bought these used. If you don't know, the author of this series is a despicable human being. So that's why I bought it used. And there is the light novel for Rurouni Kenshin, and then there is the like after the restoration, after the Meiji period. So there's like 2 volumes of like a spin-off series. Other volumes of Mao and Dead Man Wonderland. So yeah. Oh, also I have an art book for JJK. It's back there. I'm not gonna take it out. Again, this is a series that was inspired. No, Bleach inspired this series, right? If people want to argue in the comments, fine, but we're not gonna pretend that both Yu Yu Hakusho and Bleach didn't inspire JJK. But yeah, I had to get it. I really like it though. I at one point was on top of the chapters reading it online. I am no longer, but hopefully this summer I can catch up. But yeah, on to the next shelf. And my last shelf. I've already taken some of it apart. And despite this being my last shelf, this is like the home of my 2 favorite pieces of work in fiction. I know I said Bleach is my absolute favorite, but Bleach is my favorite for different reasons. Monster and 20th Century Boys. There is not a better piece of fiction than these 2 works of art. You cannot tell me anything. It's just chef kiss. Like, I have volume 1 through 8, ignore the fact that my floors are dirty, of Monster, and then I have 1 through 11 of 20th Century Boys, and then I have the 21st Century Boys, which is like essentially the next volume. So 12 volumes of this series. I have volume 1 of Master Keaton. I love Naoki Urasawa. He has quickly become one of my favorite mangakas. So I am on a mission to collect every piece of his work. This is technically, this one wasn't his work to begin with. He ended the series, and I've heard some very mixed reviews about it, but I'm going to give it a try. But Monster and 20th Century Boys is my absolute favorite, not just like of manga, but of just like literature in general. My absolute favorites. Over here, I have volume 2 and 3 of Maison Ikoku. Down there, I have 1 and 2 of Vagabond. This one is also really hard to find. Even though it's not an out-of-print manga, it is always out of stock. So I really want to get into Vagabond. Again, I'm a sucker for historical / samurai manga. So hopefully at one point I will get all of the volumes and I will read it, hopefully. Then I have The Heroic Legends of Arslan. I have, I think, 15 volumes. It is really good. Again, I'm a sucker for historical anything. And all of these, I believe, is Inuyasha. I think I have 10 volumes of Inuyasha. So that's that. And then behind here, if I can maneuver and stabilize at the same time, which is something I'm not very good at, I have the rest of Arslan. Oh, come on. And then I believe I have some random volumes of some other series in here. Doesn't really matter. That one that's turned around is No Guns Life. I'm gonna be honest, it's not a series I really enjoyed as a manga, so I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna stop and sell these ones off. I don't really keep manga that I don't like or I want to finish, so I'm going to, with the exception of Chainsaw Man, because I heavily annotated it, I'm gonna get rid of No Guns Life. I think that's one that I'll just stick to the anime for. Again, ignore the fact that my shit is so dirty. I need to clean my shelves. Satoshi Kon's Opus, and then Carnival. Don't know why I have those two. Maybe I'll get around to reading them at some point. Don't really know. But yeah, this is all of Inuyasha. Well, not all of Inuyasha. Oh, and again, ignore the fact that my shit is so dusty. This is 1 and 2 of Mermaid Saga, but I have 1 through 13 of Inuyasha in the Vizbig editions. But yeah, that is my collection. It's very unorganized and very dusty and needs to be kept better. But yeah, if you want more manga content, let me know and I'll think about doing it. So yeah, that was my manga collection. I know it's very, very disorganized. It's very, very dusty. I have not taken care of my manga collection in a very long time, and I really need to do that. And it irks my soul that I haven't. I just need to do better as a person in general in my own life. So this is probably a test to that. I did forget to mention that I have one of my Naruto mangas signed by the voice actor for Shikamaru. So that's something that was really cool that I had gotten. It was like the one volume that Shikamaru was on the cover of. So I got the voice actor to sign it, and it was really cool getting to talk to him. Uh, it's very weird that Shikamaru's voice is his natural speaking voice, but it was so fun. It was really fun. He read us a little line from Naruto, like the OG Naruto series. So it was really fun. I got to meet also the voice actor for Kisuke Urahara. I melted into the earth because Kisuke is also my favorite character from Bleach, and so I was like, I was really stupid. It embarrassed myself. Also, on one of the like fan books for Avatar: The Last Airbender that you saw in my series, in my collection, I have it autographed by Dante Bosco, who is the voice actor for Zuko. I have and have always had a huge crush on Dante Bosco. Growing up, it's very embarrassing when I tell you I was so starstruck when I spoke to this man. He was like really cool. He was really chill. He was talking to me and my best friend. Like it was just like, where are you guys from? What are you doing here? Like this is that. It was so cool to get to interact with him, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't do a lot of talking. I was just staring at him because to meet your childhood crush and adult crush in real life is so surreal. It was wild, but it was so fun to meet him. It was so fun to meet him. But yeah, he signed my little fan book with my favorite quote, which is, "Hi, it's Zuko here." So, it was so stupid, but that's my favorite line of his. But yeah, if you like this type of content, you want more, or if you saw something you want me to do a little bit more expansion on, let me know. For the one person who asked about my manga collection, thank you. Um, yeah. But anyways, you can meet me back here for more reaction content, and I'll see you once again. Bye, y'all.